what I view is the moral hazard created by the Biden administration by allowing the U.S.-Mexico border.
I think it's really telling that we have not heard specifically from Donald Trump on this.
We've had 3 months now of manufacturing jobs contracting. That was a huge justification for these. And if you're not getting your manufacturing job back and your costs are going up, at what point do you start to say this isn't the economy I wanted?
I want to hop into a CNN panel following a Republican's town hall that absolutely flopped, and you'll see what I'm talking about, due to his constituents being upset at Trump over his tariffs, his migrant mistreatment, and how the GOP is just falling in line behind whatever he says. It seems that mandate they claim never really existed. So I want to jump into the episode. First, take a second, leave us a like, lets us know you enjoy this content, gives us a boost in the algorithm, and we'll get right to it.
I really feel that this is a terrible tax that's going to be placed upon the citizens of the United States.
This really, at its core, needs to be an opportunity to make sure that other countries are treating the United States fairly. The United States, you know, I'm not looking. I want to be able to get through as many of your questions as we can.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will never get questions if we can't keep the auditorium quiet.
It's not politics, it's morality. I care about people. And what I see happening to our immigrant population embarrasses me. You have not raised a voice to complain about it. Where do I see your leadership? I see no leadership. I see following Trump 100% of the time. And Trump's lead has been...
We'll probably agree to disagree on some of my answer here. But what I view is the moral hazard created by the Biden administration by allowing the U.S.-Mexico border.
It's simple. Republican voters are fed up with this administration's lies and cruelties, their shortcomings and failures. Tariffs raise prices, they cost jobs, and they hurt GDP. We know this not only from analysis, but we literally see it playing out right now in the economic numbers. We're losing manufacturing jobs, inflation is rising, and GDP is underperforming. What is fair? He said it needs to be fair. If we need more goods from a country than they need from us, and that helps us create more GDP, jobs, higher wages for our citizens in doing so, is that still unfair just because we're in a deficit? This foregoes all economic principles. You want to import more than you export. Point to me one high export to GDP economy that isn't poor. There's not one. And it's great to hear many lifelong conservatives pushing back and booing the Trump administration's view on immigration. It's not a Biden problem. Democrats also tried to pass legislation on this, and Republicans are the one who refuse. Migrants are also people, many of whom benefit us in our economy, and all of whom deserve basic human rights.
Republicans in Congress have basically abdicated their role in the tariffs conversation right now, basically continuously saying when you've chased them down the hallways, when my colleagues at Notice have chased them down the hallways, that they want to give Trump space in a runway to effectuate these tariffs and see what happens. I think now we are at least starting to see some of what may happen. I was talking to one outside advisor to Trump who he listens to on the economy, and I asked him about his reaction to the report, and he said 3 words: bad report, yikes. This is not something that the White House can necessarily talk down, at least this individual jobs report. Yes, there are muddy waters, but it's a far stretch from what we heard from them just on Wednesday when they were so excited. And I think it's really telling that we have not heard specifically from Donald Trump on this.
Which we know now that he chose to just fire the person who releases the report and pretend that they're lying and that, of course, our economy is great. So, of course, now add the Bureau of Labor Statistics into the conspiracy against Trump. They, of course, join all media, all Democrats, all Republicans who disagree with Trump, all colleges, all judges, even ones Trump appointed, all AGs, all grand juries and juries. Totally reasonable and believable. And if you don't, it's because you're brainwashed and can't critically think. But she's spot on here. Republicans took majority in Congress, and rather than act as the checks and balances to the president that they are supposed to, they fully abdicated all their responsibilities to Trump, which is just another danger of him having this cult-like following. Other Republicans are only scared to provide this check and balance, to push back against his insane things that he's trying to do, because the base is essentially a Trump cult, and he will wield it with all his power against them if he does. Look how quickly he just fired a nonpartisan official for releasing an objective report. What do you think he will do to someone whose midterm is coming up in a year? This is why all of them are letting him do this, and it's eroding democracy.
This is the thing, his voters, as well as Republicans, I mean, they have given him a lot of leeway, understanding that there might be some disruption for a little bit, the people who support him. The other voters in the middle, people who didn't support him, obviously there's a lot of heartburn, to say the least, about this. I think what we're going to have to look at is that double squeeze we get for people who even were in support of this idea. We've had 3 months now of manufacturing jobs contracting. That was a huge justification for these. And if you're not getting your manufacturing job back and your costs are going up, at what point do you start to say this isn't the economy I wanted?
And you still will see this. I see it in my comments. People who clearly really don't know how tariffs work or macroeconomics at all, pretending that there is a factual basis to Trump's claims and that we just need to wait and, of course, eventually the economy will be on fire, that it's short-term pain for long-term gain. There's, of course, no economic theory behind this. There's nothing they can point to from anyone who knows what they're talking about that could lay out how this is the logical conclusion. So just ask them why, right? Why, what happens when we wait? Like, what is this magical thing that, and how long does it take, right? Is it 90 days? Is it 900 days? Is it this? Is it this? Like, and how do you know? Did like the magical fairy in the sky tell you? To the extent that we sign tariff deals, we just end up with permanent tariffs that are higher than are before. So rather it being speculation, which might lead to a lot of corporations increasing prices, they now know for sure that it's up. So then they raise their prices accordingly on a permanent basis as well. If the deals are not made and we're just kept up to speculation, then of course the tariffs, people are already putting forth the price increases. They're already laying off jobs because they're preempting what the tariffs will do. This isn't a guess. This isn't what past data says. It's literally what we're seeing. Again, 3 months in a row of manufacturing job loss, dating back to the first month after Liberation Day. Inflation on core goods is at the highest level it has been in 3 years. The only thing that waiting could do to help in an economic sense would be if Trump walked back to all the tariffs and then, the effects went back to normal. But even then, especially when we're seeing it hold for this long, what we often see after extended inflationary periods in the economy is many businesses will just keep their prices raised, which creates an artificial sense of inflation. This happened in the aftermath of COVID. It happened in the aftermath of the Great Recession and so on. So even in that instance, there is strong reason to believe that these prices may never go down. They're never going to go back down to where they were before tariffs. I would bet my career on that. And the jobs also might never come back, especially with Trump's inability to create jobs that we saw throughout his first term and that we're again seeing play out in this term. It actually hinders factories from opening in America. If I just want to end by pointing to how weak the point is that MAGA tries to say that, oh, it'll bring back American jobs, wait, and eventually, right? No, dummy. In every factor, in every sector in America, every factory is import dependent. Nothing is fully made in America. That is a myth. If these imports are going to be more costly here than, say, Mexico or Canada, then the factories will be more likely to go to, say, Mexico or Canada. It's a very simple economic principle that I urge MAGA to read about in a single textbook.